Hello everyone and welcome again to Jason's in the House. I'm your host Jason Parisella, real estate agent with Keller Williams Realty right here in Beverly. Nice to see you again. So today we have two guests, Doug Turner from Viridian Energy and Jen Parisella, happens to be my sister, from Viridian Energy. They're green consultants. Again, both with Viridian Energy, and welcome to the show. It's great to have you guys.
Thank you.
Excellent. So let's start out with you, Jen. Tell us a little bit about what you're going to be talking about today and kind of frame up what we're going to be talking about at the show.
Okay, well, Viridian Energy is a green energy company, and what we do as associates for Viridian is we educate consumers on their right to choose a third-party energy supplier. And I know that sounds like a mouthful, but actually it has to do with your electric bill. And we can talk a little bit more about that. And also we want to talk to people about solar energy and their option to put solar panels on their home, which people are probably noticing more and more of as they even travel through Beverly.
Absolutely. I've seen myself being in real estate and driving around, seeing a lot of these houses now having the solar panels on them.
Yeah. So
you want to start with the whole deregulation of energy. So just like the phone, like what happened with the phone industry, the telecom industry, and people have choices. So tell us a little bit, real practically speaking, what does this mean for consumers?
Most importantly, deregulation means choice. It means choice for the consumer, for the homeowner, or even if you pay an electric bill and you're a renter. Anyone who pays an electric bill has a choice of where that energy comes from, or the supplier. If you look at your energy bill...
So in Beverly, we're all National Grid.
Correct.
So when you look at your National Grid bill...
And your National Grid electric bill, not your gas bill, but your electric bill. If you look at the bill, you'll actually notice two sections of the bill. One section is the delivery section, and one section is the supply services section. And that's the section of the bill where the consumers have a choice.
And I think it's a section on the kind of maybe the second page. Or
sometimes it shows up on the second page. Sometimes on a smaller bill it may show up right on that first page.
So it's that supplier section that people
that's what they want to look at. Most people don't know they have that choice. That choice has been around, and deregulation has been in place in our state for about 15 years.
Really, that long? And
only about 15% of the population in this state has already chosen a supplier. So over the years, people have received mailers or they've received phone calls, telemarketing from supplier companies, and that's how most do their marketing. However, Viridian came up with this unique idea to kind of go out and talk to people and educate consumers. So we've done very well. We also add a very important component, and that is that we offer a green energy option. So people are interested in green. Green is important. So while you're saving a little money on that section of your bill, you can also be helping the environment.
So it's not costing people more to go green?
No.
So it's a good option for people.
It has in the past. In fact, National Grid actually has offered a program that people could go green, but it was going to cost them a premium. And Viridian has eliminated that. Now we're saying you can go green and save money. So it's a great option. There are plenty of suppliers available to people to choose. Viridian's only one of them. And those suppliers are listed on the National Grid website. If you go to the website and look under residential suppliers, you'll see that list, and you'll see Viridian there. It's in alphabetical order.
Which is a very good point, that consumers need to know that National Grid is fully endorsing and understanding and is embraced. And I mean, there's no choice really, but there's nothing. National Grid's not going to, it doesn't matter to them one way or the other who your supplier is, and you have every choice to
absolutely. And another really important thing is when you do make that choice, and it's a very simple process that most, I think all of the companies allow you to do that online. Once you do that, it's very seamless. It just happens, and it just sort of appears on your bill within about a 2-month cycle. So you still get the same bill from National Grid. You still will see, everything will look the same. The only thing that you're going to see different is that under supply services, you will now see Viridian or whatever supplier you've chosen as that line item, and it will no longer say Basic, Fixed, or National Grid. They have been replaced. So National Grid is your default supplier if you don't make a choice.
So no matter what, because this is a question I've had people ask me, being in real estate, your electricity goes down, you have no electricity. Well, who's going to come fix it?
Right.
So if you choose a different supplier, Who's gonna come fix
A lot of people ask us that
electricity
question.
back on?
Remember I spoke about the two sections of the bill, the delivery section and the supply section. Well, the delivery section is everything else. It's, you know, all that is the charges that National Grid is charging you for, so that they do look out for your lines. If the power goes down, they're out to your house. Or the transmission, the delivery. So all those charges.
So you're still calling National Grid for any issues or problems?
You don't call about the supply service. That's sort of just that. Where is the energy coming from? And that's your choice. Where is National Grid going to get the supply from? Is it going to come from where they go and buy it, or where Viridian goes and buys it, or another supplier?
Right.
So nothing changes, and your life stays the same, but you've just made a conscious, you know, a deliberate choice as to where that energy is going to come from.
And you have a choice to monitor prices, to change suppliers.
Absolutely.
You know, to hopefully get it for the lowest price you can.
Absolutely.
Especially when we talk to Doug a little bit further about really what's happening with the industry and everything like that,
right,
to really make sure that you have the supplier that you want and it's going to save you money, hopefully.
Yeah.
Excellent. So, Doug, what is happening? You know, we just talked about deregulation. We have choices to where we get our energy. Give us a broader picture as to what's happening in the industry. Where are we going?
Okay.
You know, we hear a lot about oil and gas and all kinds of stuff. So,
first of all, Jason, thank you, and let me introduce myself. My name is Doug Turner. Actually, a little bit about my background. In 1958, when I graduated from college, I went into the plastics industry, and I polluted the earth for a while. So in '85, when I got out of that, I decided I better do something about it. So I actually, in '85, I went into the composting business and trying to clean up the earth. But a few years ago, I became an associate with Viridian Energy. And even though I'm a mechanical engineer by education, I'm electrical by avocation. And so I've thoroughly enjoyed it. Where do we get our energy? I guess is basically what you asked. And energy here in the Northeast is primarily produced by natural gas. And natural gas costs, even though they're fairly inexpensive throughout the United States, they're very expensive into the Northeast. And I think people should understand why. One of the reasons why is because of the increased demand in natural gas due to the coal-burning plants being shut down for obvious reasons.
Which is why we just had one shut down in Salem.
In Salem,
yep,
correct, and they're shutting a few more down. Nuclear plants being shut down for obvious reasons, and new ones not coming online for obvious reasons, the danger and the cost of them. They're actually a premium to run nuclear plants today. So natural gas was the least expensive and less polluting than the other two methods. So the primary generation of electricity here in the Northeast has been natural gas. The issue is getting the natural gas here into the Northeast. We've outgrown the one old pipe that brought natural gas into it, so they're trying to get new pipes in at a cost of about $5 billion. But a natural gas pipe of today is about 5 feet in diameter, has 500 pounds of pressure. And for some reason, which I agree, people don't want it in their backyard.
Right.
And I don't want it in my backyard either. So to get the natural gas here into New England, the Northeast, they're having to bring it in by barges and by boats and over the road. And that becomes very, very expensive. Matter of fact, speaking of expense, and I kind of want to talk about what's happening. Through the years, this is, let's see, can we?
see if we can get that up.
Up a little higher, but then down.
All right. Through the years, homeowners, this chart goes back to 2007, have been paying in the 8 to 10 cents per kW for their energy. Last winter...
So we're here, just so we know, too,
Yeah.
the blue is National Grid, which is where
Right,
we are. Yeah.
the Gross National Grid.
Yeah.
Last winter, we paid about 16 cents per kW. That's double 8 cents per kW that you were used to paying.
So that was, what did you say, last year that happened?
That happened in November of last year.
Now what caused that?
Because of, during the winter time, they can't get enough natural gas in here to heat the homes and run the the generating plants.
Okay.
So this winter, the CEO of National Grid has projected the cost to be 24 cents a kW.
So when is this? So
This will happen in November of this year.
which is a year after when it happened before.
Correct.
Okay.
So what we expect will happen is, if that does occur, which is planned, then these summer rates in the average rate will hover in the 12 to 15 cents, which will be double to triple what you've been paying. Now that 24 cents per kW is just for the energy. The delivery, which is the part that Jen talked about, is about 10 cents a kW. That cost is going up annually.
And there's nothing, there is no choice on the delivery. That's part of
There
the
is no choice
National Grid charge that you're not going to have any control over.
Right. Right. Well, there is a choice, and that is solar.
Solar, okay.
So, I think I covered.
So let me ask you something, because you just, so it's going to significantly increase again in November. How does someone know when they change suppliers? What's the ratio of the increase between a different supplier and the National Grid? Are they normally, or generally speaking, higher than these other suppliers, or are they all equal, or how do you know which supplier is going to give you the best so-called deal?
A good question, and that is a tough one for a homeowner. What Viridian has done is come out with a 3-year program guaranteeing a rate which is typically 10 to 15% under the utility, guaranteeing that it'll be at least 50% green energy, and also adding a caveat: if over 3 years, if the utility does come down for some unforeseen reason, you can get a 10% rebate. It's really 110%, but the effective net is about 10% rebate.
So I guess the key now is to look for a company that you can lock in the rate, obviously compare it to the National Grid rate.
Correct.
And then you'll and lock it in for 3 years.
3 years, yeah.
Is there any benefit to not locking and to floating the rate? Doing a month-to-month plan.
You can. Viridian also offers a floating rate, basically a floating rate at comparing it to the utility. It's kind of like putting money into the stock market.
Right.
I can't tell you, they can't tell you, nobody can tell you. But if you like that sort of thing, go with that rate.
Yeah. Now, if someone moves too, I just thought of that. I've had that come up too. When someone moves, how does that work? And they have to. So if you're locked into a 3-year plan, and you move.
Typically,
say you move and you don't have an electric account because you're moving with someone that.
If you move and you've discontinued your meter because of moving, you don't even need to call Viridian, you just call the utility.
Okay.
And they take care of that.
Yeah, they take care of that.
I see. Yeah. And if you've moved and you've opened another electric account, your plan continues?
But you have to call Viridian or your associate.
But you're not going to get penalized on any rates or anything like that?
No, you would actually have a brand new account number. So whenever you have a new electric bill, it's a new account.
Okay.
So with Viridian or your supplier that you've chosen, you will be starting a brand new account. So you're starting fresh, and at that point you would choose what you want for your contract. Yeah.
So just so people know too, your website, what's your website so we know?
My website is the company name, www.viridian, and then a / JENNP, Gen P, and that's just will take you to my personal website.
And people can check out prices there.
It's excellent. It gives you a lot of information. There's quite a bit to navigate, and also you can actually click on Become a Customer just to kind of see what your options are without, you don't have to do it at that moment. My phone number's on there, my email address, so if you have more questions, you can certainly contact me that way.
Yeah. And people should also, and we want to make sure that people realize, National Grid is another resource to just make sure you go through and you can see a whole list of suppliers.
Absolutely.
Certainly compare Viridian to other suppliers that are out there.
Yep.
But it's definitely something that people should do, at least
they should
check around and check prices and get ready for this
right
increase
now
that we're having
is the time to choose a supplier.
Yeah.
I mean, you should choose something. you know, like you said, you can go to the National Grid website, and there are a list, and it can get a little confusing.
I think there's quite a few there.
There's
Now. I'm
quite
not sure
a few,
how many, but there's...
and even if you're a commercial business, we also do commercial properties. So a lot of people in business, you know, they're always looking for ways to save money, and this is an important way that they can save money. Especially, a lot of businesses use a lot of electricity, and
Right.
the electric bill is one of their highest costs. So to go ahead and choose a supplier to save some money is kind of an easy way to bring their, you know, overhead down.
Right, fixed costs,
So
yeah.
it's something they should do, really.
Yeah.
And like I said, only 15% right now of people in this state have made a choice. So
Wow.
most people are kind of at the mercy of this rate going up and feeling like they can't do anything about it.
Right.
But you actually can do something about it.
Excellent.
So
let's jump into the solar. As we mentioned at the beginning of the show, we're seeing more and more solar panels. What's the whole scoop on the solar?
Okay,
I mean, that's another thing. There's so many companies, there's so much information. People always wonder if it's just a good thing or
Let me
bad
give a
thing.
brief overview on solar, and I'm going to diverge for just a minute. The U.S. government spends $150 billion a year subsidizing fossil fuels. And solar can eliminate the use of fossil fuels. So I think in a way we could say we're paying for this pollution. We're paying for this environment change. So I think once people realize that, solar panels today have hit their maturity. In other words, the PVC panels of today, they're in the 85 to 95% of all the energy they can get from the sun. So there's if you spend $1 million, you might be able to make a better panel, but it's not going to be cost justified.
Right.
So solar panels are very efficient today. What everybody should also understand that in 88 hours, there's enough energy from the sun to power the world for a year. All we have to do is harness it. So we just have to get these solar panels on homes.
Let me ask you something too. I read this recently where, I'm not sure if, I didn't get into detail with it, the making of the solar panel itself. When you make a solar panel, how much energy is required to make that panel, you know, versus, so if everybody starts going solar, you still have to make these panels.
Okay.
So what would it be ideally? You'd have like a solar energy making the, you know what I'm saying?
Yes, Jason, the plants,
Making the panel itself.
and I think all plants of tomorrow, but certainly solar plants like Elon Musk owns Solar City.
Yeah.
Elon Musk also owns the Tesla and SpaceX. Elon Musk is making the largest solar plant in the world going online in upstate New York this year. It will be completely independent of its own electricity, and it'll be doing it by solar. They're also making the largest battery making plant in the world, 1.2 billion square feet.
So I didn't realize Elon Musk was owning Solar City.
Elon's
He's a major
Musk, just
player in the-
amazing.
yeah.
And he's younger than all of us. Yeah, I mean, he gets it. He understands it.
Well, he's coming out with the battery, the complete
The battery of the future,
and the
and in
Tesla
case anybody
cars.
wants to, all of his patents are available. He's saying, I can't do it alone. So what I do see is solar powering the earth, going into storage batteries to get rid of that sunlight area. And also, if one reads a book by Lester Brown, I don't know if you can zoom in on this, The Energy Transition, the Great Transition, you realize that wind power is actually exceeding solar power. And between wind and solar, literally within my lifetime, we could power the world with wind and solar. We do not need fossil fuels.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of that, electric cars use a third the energy that a gasoline or diesel-driven car would use. So once people understand that, the transition to electric cars will probably happen definitely within my lifetime.
Yeah.
Probably 50% of the cars in the next 10 years will be electric cars. So there's greater demand for energy,
Right.
a great demand to get rid of the
increase.
fossil fuels. Now, solar panels today can be put on your home through, you can go to Jen's website or your website and just click off you want solar panels.
So Viridian does solar, and they're an energy supplier, and they also do
we're
solar.
tied in with Solar City, and we're partnered with Solar City, so Solar City will actually install them on your home at no cost. And remember, I was talking about rates here. I'm going to bring this up just very quickly, and we talked about the rate of just the energy at 24 cents.
Yeah.
In the 12 to plus 10 cents for delivery of the energy, which is 25 cents, today you can get solar in the 12 to 15 cents per kW range on your home, no cost for the solar panels, and 12 to 15 cents delivered, because obviously the solar, when it's produced on your home.
And that's a 20-year.
And that is fixed for 20 years. So it's like buying gasoline back when it was 50 cents a gallon, if some of you remember that.
So maybe I misspoke at the beginning when I said, or a little bit earlier, the delivery charge, you can actually decrease the delivery charge.
Yes.
Because when you have a solar panel,
you're right.
You're eliminating the delivery charge because you're delivering to yourself in your house, correct?
Yes. On my way in here today, I looked at the home of one of the technicians, and I think we can get probably 95% energy from his home at no cost to him in the 12 cents per kW range, fixed for 20 years.
Wow.
It is such a no-brainer. Now, if he wants to buy them, he can. But remember, money doubles every 10 years, right? So if you put $20,000 into it, you're not going to save $60,000 in your...
You'll save more on the back end? Is that how that would work? If you bought the panels?
Yeah, you'd save...
You'd start saving more on the back end, correct? Or
no, you'd save... If you bought the panels, energy would cost you nothing. But it would take you about 15 years to...
Oh, I see. You're
save
just
enough money to pay for that, you're down.
Yeah.
And in 15 years, that $20,000 would be worth $50,000.
I see.
So I say, let Solar City put them on at their expense.
So tell us a little bit about Solar City. I mean, how do they compare with these other companies in the industry now? You see a lot of them propping up.
Good question. Solar City is the largest installer of solar in the United States. They know that, and I think the public should know, that the U.S. government does subsidize solar somewhat. But in 2016, that subsidy is going from 30% down to 10%. And by the way, for the business people out there, if you want to take advantage of that, you've got to get it installed and working before the end of next year.
So how's that going to affect prices and...
Well, Solar City, again, being the biggest and such a big company, I think that is why they're producing the world's largest solar producing plant here in the United States, so they can control that cost.
I see.
Get that cost down. So we can still. What we're really talking about is parity. We're talking about parity of green energy with fossil fuels. And we have met that this year. We're now meeting that. So green energy will start to cost less than fossil fuels.
Right.
But it will cost more. The green energy prices will go up within the green energy sector.
As the fossil fuel prices go up, green energy, yes, it may be less, but they're not going to hang around. They'll go up. They'll go up with them.
So we're just encouraging people to take advantage, and really, if you've thought about solar, at least find out if it will work on your house, because
that's a free service too, correct?
Absolutely, it's a free service to find out, to get a proposal, to see if your house would qualify, because some homes, they're just too shaded.
Right.
Maybe you live in a very wooded area. It's just not going to work.
Any idea on the percentage of that don't qualify? Is there any type of statistics on that? I was just curious.
Percentage of homes that
don't qualify because of shaded areas, or what's the general?
Yeah, it's a high percentage right now, probably in the 40 to 50% range. But half of that could be eliminated if they would trim some trees.
Trim some trees back.
And then sometimes they'll recommend that. They'll actually say, by just cutting a few branches off of this tree and keeping that side of the tree trimmed, it will work. They'll suggest that if they feel that would make the difference.
Now, when they do a consult, they do it via satellite, correct? So they're not having to even come to your home?
They only come to your home once you've approved the proposal. And I might add, Jason, today, we're putting solar panels on homes that are facing northwest, not north, but northwest. I personally have panels on my home that are northwest.
Wow. So is that because they're getting more and more efficient, the panels?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. Yes.
And you're saying that the quality of a solar panel is pretty much peaked. In other words, there's not much more you can do to make
pretty
it.
much peaked. What hasn't peaked is the quality of the inverter, which converts the DC energy to the AC. That, like our cell phones, is improving every day. But when you have a 20-year contract, you're going to get 2, maybe even 3 inverters through that 20
So that was going to be my next
They
question.
update.
Do they do automatic upgrades or updates to the panels or components?
Automatic.
Yeah.
They monitor your panels 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. If there's
Well, that's an
something wrong
important
with it,
point.
you get an email, possibly a telephone call. They may say, we want to come in and fix something. You don't even know it.
But you don't want to have 20 years from now have 20-year-old panels
Right.
that are like 25% as efficient than the new panels.
Right,
You want to continually have the best panels on your home.
right.
Panels will degrade over time, but that's all taken into account and guaranteed when you get your proposal. They calculate that.
Now, what about commercial? I mean, we know that the Cummings Center, I'm sure there's obviously other businesses in the area that have put solar panels on. We know the
Viridian
Cummings
and
Center
Solar
has.
City is on a very aggressive march to get commercial here into Massachusetts, matter of fact, throughout the United States. We don't have it as of today, but I think you can talk to me in 2 weeks and I can tell you when we will have
Okay.
it.
Yeah, I think it's coming.
So but solar is still
Works
an option
fine,
for
yeah.
commercial.
Flat
Yeah.
roofs have been an issue with solar panels because of many reasons. Poking holes in flat
Yeah.
roofs, pitching them, and then they're acting like a wing and it tears them off. But they've gotten a handle on that now.
So that's another good point on a homeowner. If a roof starts leaking caused by a panel,
For the 20 years that you're with Solar City, it has $2 million insurance policy on it, and it will be replaced, fixed, warranted, guaranteed. Don't ever worry about it.
Okay.
And when you put solar panels on a roof, you're protecting that roof.
It's actually,
So it actually lengthens
That's true.
the roof of it.
because it's taking all the weather, everything's hitting the
Absolutely.
solar panels.
yeah.
The other thing, too, is when someone sells their home, what happens to that 20-year contract?
Well, it is absorbed by the new owner, and the new owner takes
It's
over.
fully transferable?
It's transferable. Now, if the new owner, for some reason, and I don't, in the foreseeable future, that's a plus. I mean, I think you can attest to the fact that it increases the value of the home.
Absolutely. Yeah.
But let's say someone, for some reason, does not want those panels on. The homeowner that's selling the house can remove those panels for $500 and dissolve the contract.
So they can.
that
So
correct?
They take the panels with them
Oh,
to put them on their
exactly.
next house.
Yeah.
I see.
So
Now-
they're transferable if.
What if the next house doesn't qualify or it's too shaded?
Then they may think twice of where they're going to get, or give it to a friend or a neighbor
okay.
or whatever.
So you have options.
Jason, another good business thing is, let's say somebody's been into the program for about 10 years, and let's say their average bill is $100 a month, and they got 10 more years to go. What they can do is prepay that. Yes, it's going to be about $12,000, but when you're selling a house for $500 or $1 million, if they pay $12,000, now they're selling a house with free electricity for 10 years. And
So
by the way, at the end of 20 years, you can extend it for 5 more years at a time.
Wow.
So that you have that option.
Great information. Excellent. So if people need to get a hold of you, let's make sure they have your information. Any other further questions that they have? Or
Okay, great.
We talked about a lot in the short time that we had. So
Yeah. My website again is www.viridian.com/Jen, JENNP for Parisella. And Doug?
If anybody wants to learn a little bit more or talk about the energy, I'm happy to do that. And my email is dougtgreenenergy@gmail.com, or you can give me a call on my cell, 781-820-7467. Love talking about energy.
thank you very much. What a great show.
Thank you
A lot
so
of great
much.
information.
Thanks for having us.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And thank you all again for watching Jason's in the House. We really appreciate it. If you have any questions for me, comments, want to be a guest on the show, 978-927-6030. And you can see all our shows on my YouTube channel, which is youtube.com/JA Parisella. We'll see you next time. Thank you.